This evening, I actually finally got done with a show called My Man Is Cupid. To be honest, it was definitely interesting of actually how deep the show went, to be honest, and how intricate it was, because without giving too much away here, there's actually many layers to this, but the main ones you have to focus on is the fact that there's fairies that basically go through this thing called metamorphosis that make them that constantly makes them look the same age for as long as they want. I'm sure there's a limit, but I don't think they ever really told that in the show. But and along with this, there's actually very much like interconnected things as well, because it also goes with the fact that people are like reborn as like different people. So there's this one girl that one of the fairies is in love with, and she gets reborn as somebody else, but 500 years later, technically more closer to like 400 some, because she was born in the 90s. But anyways, that's another story. But basically, yeah, there's that, along with the fact that during that same time period, which is the Joseon Dynasty, by the way, yeah, that's involved here because Koreans love their historical dramas. Fair enough, fun times. But yeah, and part of that love triangle was this other guy who was like the prince back then, and somehow, even though he never says it like outright, and they never say it right, but they insinuate it, is that he was reborn as a detective, interestingly enough, which is pretty cool. So yeah, there's that layer of like love triangle, and like the metamorphosis thing, which is what the fairies have to go through every so often, make blood gutter. So there's that. Yeah, metamorphosis, love triangle. Even though really this one girl that gets reborn is actually really focused on the fairy this whole time anyways, even though it's kind of like a denial thing. It's like, oh no, I don't really like him, and it's like, I don't like either, but then they're like, nah, we do like each other. One of those denial kind of things, you know, it happens a lot with these kind of situations. And then even like on top of that, it's like kind of a slightly new development, because this part of the story only goes back like 3 decades, like still a long time, but not as much as the fairy in like the main girl story, which is definitely interesting. But on top of all of that is this killer that unfortunately, his whole thing is the fact that he has this weird like possession of these things called like the seven sins, and like that term goes back to actually the Joseon Dynasty, or like they were called that since back then. It was actually the 7 reasons of 7 main reasons why people got divorced back then. And like it kills like people like based on like those sins. So if you so one victim was like about jealousy, another victim was about this and that, along with like some other stuff. There's like layers with that guy. Basically he's like really messed up, and like his wife cheated him, and then becoming like messed upness just kind of like just really came out. Yeah, it was great. Like I think he was already kind of messed up, but you know, like his wife treated him like really kind of like brought that messed upness out, you know. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting show with those like main layers of like the character. Again, I don't want to give away too much because actually it's a great show. So, and it's kind of intricate, so I don't want to give everything away, you know. But actually, it's a great show. I highly recommend it. You know, it's a very layered show despite like the cutesy title, and now they only really say it like a few times, anyways. Especially near like the end when they finally don't deny their feelings away. It's like a while that they deny their feelings, and they're like, oh wait, nope, we're really doing things with each other. But especially with that whole thing about her, about like going to like a fortune teller or something, and then getting this advice of like, yeah, go to this mountain like 1,000 times, and then it's like you're and it's like whatever thing we're like going through, something like that. Anyways, a great show, very layered. Highly recommend it. On Amazon Prime, maybe. If you got Prime Video, watch it on there. So yeah, good times. Great show.